Amazon workers at a warehouse in Alabama have been voting by mail on whether to unionize. The ballots are due today. Counting starts tomorrow, and there is a lot at stake. Deirdre Bosa joins us right now with more. And Deirdre, people around the country are watching, but especially in Washington.
Yes, and certainly other warehouse workers at Amazon are watching as well. That's why the stakes are so high here. Now, the results will determine whether Bessemer, Alabama workers will become the first group to unionize among Amazon's 800,000 U.S. workers. But guys, don't expect this process to be quick or smooth. The mail-in voting period that ends today, counting starts tomorrow, that's likely to last days, in part because both sides can dispute votes. There are about 6,000 workers at that warehouse, guys, the majority of which would have to support unionizing in order for this to pass. But even if it does pass, it could take years of bargaining to reach a first contract, and either side could and is likely to contest the results. Now, tensions over the union battle have escalated over recent weeks. Last week, we talked about a Twitter spat between one of Amazon's most senior executives and lawmakers. That received a lot of attention. On Friday, Senator Bernie Sanders visited workers, telling them, quote, "They know if you succeed here, it will spread all over this country." And guys, that idea of a domino effect is why those stakes are so high here. Labor challenges, they could push Amazon to alter its policies and ultimately threaten that efficiency, guys, that has turned it into a $1.5 trillion market cap powerhouse, Becky.
Hey, Dee, over the weekend, there were those reports that suggested that Jeff Bezos was the one who was pushing for a more aggressive response to the critics, that he maybe got people fired up about that. What do you know about that? What do you think? And where does Andy Jassy fit in with all of this?
Right, Andy Jassy, who's supposed to be taking over the reins later this year, but no one expects Jeff Bezos to go anywhere. He's going to remain executive chair. And it may be a little unusual for Bezos to sort of direct this, but it's certainly not unprecedented. A few years ago, there was that New York Times article about harsh working conditions for white-collar workers. And you saw this response from their head of policy, chief communications officer, Jay Carney. He was Obama's former press secretary, came out hitting hard against it. So the report over the weekend from Recode says essentially that Jeff Bezos has been watching this and he wasn't happy that they weren't pushing back hard enough. So this was actually a mandate from him to do so. And it's got a lot of people talking, of course. We talked last week, about that back and forth. And people are kind of shaking their heads thinking, what is the strategy here? Perhaps rile up the other side, Republicans who may be against this unionization effort or against changing some of the corporate tax initiatives. But it certainly is one to watch this week as we get closer to that outcome. Again, votes, they start to be counted tomorrow. So we'll see what the Amazon Twitter handle and Dave Clark, their SVP of Worldwide Operations, is thinking about tweeting over the next few days. It'll be one to watch for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what happened here, but we've all seen it in the workplace where the boss says something and people jump over themselves to try and respond, sometimes react a little too much, maybe too aggressively in some of these situations. We've all watched it play out in the workplace, though.